And yes, I am smiling as I say that name. I'm Malphasex, being joined here by Spuddington. This is the Solomid Invitational's 2014, our second tournament over on the European side, brought to you in part by Logitech and ProBuilds.net. So, Spuddington, Gamers 2, we saw them in our first tournament. This is the tournament debut for the Solomid series of Unicorns of Love. What can we expect out of these two sides?
So Unicorns of Love, in spite of being like a joke name, which you normally associate with a team that doesn't last very long, actually a pretty strong team. We've seen them around. I believe they were in the Coke Challenger League last night as well. They were playing there. Believe they would have done okay, although I didn't actually catch the game. Generally, they're considered like an upper mid-tier challenger team in my experience, and particularly, they're very dependent on Hylasang getting onto either Thresh or Leona. He's really good on those two champions, but tends to suffer a little bit if he's forced onto alternate picks. So we'll see if Gamers 2 target them out with bans or looking to first pick those champions away.
All right, so Jax, Ziggs, and Thresh, the bans coming out here from the side of Gamers 2. Yasuo, Twitch, and Kassadin banned away by Unicorns of Love, and that's going to leave the Irelia open, and JWoww going to lock that in without any hesitation whatsoever for his top lane pick.
Yeah, Aurelia very highly valued currently, especially in Europe, not so much in other regions, but does very, very well if Jax is not available, basically. She's like a slightly worse Jax in terms of her laning strength, so you won't generally see her picked if that is going to be the opponent, but does very, very well against a lot of alternates. You do sometimes see her struggling, though, up against Renekton as well, and that is open. So we'll see if Unicorns of Love go for that, but right now, priority picks for them, picking out their mid laner.
All right, they get the Morgana, they get the Syndra. Mordred's showing us the Lee Sin right now. We'll see if he decides to lock that one in. He's also a pretty big fan of the Elise, and I kind of miss his Volibear. I've always been wanting to see him play more Volibear, but it is going to be the Lee Sin. That does get locked in. And they will lock in the Lucian as well for Yuki's AD carry play. So just need a support and a mid laner here for Ocelot. And we did see Ocelot, the go-to champion for him in the first tournament in this series was Nidalee for the mid lane. And it is open. You'd have to play it into Syndra, which is not very fun. Syndra is a really hard bully lane in the early levels, and Nidalee doesn't do that much in the early levels. But Ocelot showed us an amazing proficiency for keeping up farm despite playing into really aggressive, really strong early game champions like LeBlanc. So it seems entirely possible to me that Nidalee might make a return.
Yeah, may well do. He might also look to take LeBlanc, of course, because she is also open, also one of Ocelot's favorite champions, very, very strong in the right situations, and may well be able to actually deal with Syndra in the early game because she has the silence. Still very much a skill matchup because the knockback, for instance, from Syndra, if you use that effectively, you can actually cancel out the dash, which also cancels out the second part of Sigil of Silence from a LeBlanc, but obviously, it's a little bit difficult to time stuff like that, and Syndra is always very, very scary since her burst is second to none, pretty much, at level 6.
And we didn't talk about this at all, but Braum was unbanned and still available, and it looks like Dude might even pick him up. We're still waiting to see if he's going to go for the lock-in on that one, but showing us the Braum right now. The Elise gets locked in for Master of Sheepy's jungle. It's going to be a Caitlyn Morgana combination for the bottom lane. So they're going to say, despite the fact that Irelia was first picked, they're going to end up last picking their top laner to go up against it. And Ocelot's just showing us, well, Yuki at least is showing us a lot of different options here for Ocelot. We'll see what the final lock-in is going to be. AP Blitzcrank, pretty clearly. AP Nasus, AP Teemo. I'm just going to say AP and whatever champion he shows me. And we'll see AP Orianna. Okay, AP Orianna looks like that's going to be it, and they do indeed lock in the Orianna. So Orianna and Braum, the final lock-ins for the side of Gamers 2.
Yeah, not surprised to see Orianna against the Syndra there. Very safe pick. Gonna be interesting to see Braum. This is the first time I've seen him loud through and locked in a competitive game, and so thus far, I have had very little chance to see anything of him, in fact, because I haven't had a lot of time to play many games either since he was released. So,
and of course, he's
gonna have to remember his
the
skill
permaban
names
list right now too. Yeah, he's kind of on the permaban list too, so it's pretty difficult to actually get any playtime for Braum when it comes down to it.
Well, they must have practiced it. Dude must know how to play it at least to a certain degree. He doesn't strike me as being enormously complicated, Braum, from the way he plays, but still, well, it gives them a very strong team fight combo. They have the Braum ultimate and the Orianna ultimate. Combo those together, you get pretty strong setup there. They've got decent mobility as well, so picking potential is a thing for them. But the real puzzle for me is going to be the laning, essentially, from Braum. And that's an interesting last pick to go up against it as well. Do you have any thoughts, Malthus?
I mean, Yorick is a. I'm intrigued because I'm only a bit hesitant because generally speaking, people prioritize picking up Yorick when they have a really hyperscaling late game carry, and they don't necessarily have that one with Caitlyn. But he could also just use the ultimate on himself and will be insanely tanky and will always be there to continue spamming AoE slows down the enemy team. But yeah, he's a champion who brings a good amount of sustain, a good amount of damage, and a good amount of tankiness in a lane against Irelia, who is arguably Europe's favorite top laner right now. Constantly, first picked or banned away in so many games. Irelia and Jax are kind of on a similar status in that one across the regions. So, I mean, he's using this as a survival pick up against the Irelia in the top lane. And he might even bring enough damage to kind of bully her around in the early game. We'll have to see how this works out.
Yeah, I think this is there's actually two things I can see this Yorick pick does for them quickly before we go into a break. It means that focusing out Syndra doesn't necessarily deny them that damage, because I mentioned before, Syndra's sustained damage for a burst mage is actually remarkably high. Her Q spam, very, very strong. If she's not as afraid for her life as she would be normally, she does have more time to do that. The other thing is that he will actually usually, unless he's camped, beat out Irelia in a one-on-one lane. But guys, obviously we do have to go into the advertisement break. We have got the spectator delay ticking down as we speak, so we'll see you after this.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solomid Invitationals 2014. I'm Malthus X, being joined here by Spuddington. We're hopping into game number 1 of our second best of 3 of the day between Gamers 2 and Unicorns of Love.
Oh boy. Yes, indeed, we are getting into games. So, champions have been locked in and everything else. We have got a Syndra this game. We also have a Cleanse here on the Orianna. So, basically looking to not die to Syndra, I think, is the basic plan here. Simply because she has that massive range stun. And I think you actually looked up the range on the stun exactly, Malthus. Like, what was it?
1100 range. It's
1100.
the same range as the max range Lucian Piercing Light. It's ridiculous. That's absurd. To be able to get a 1.5 second stun at 1100 range, there's almost no counterplay to that.
Yeah, and the Dark Binding, it would be jealous of its ability to go through minions as well. So, yeah, that's scary, scary stuff. That's why you see Ocelot with the Cleanse here, so he can flash out if he does get hit by that stun, and that does mean he's a little bit less vulnerable to the ganking. But Cleanse obviously does have quite a long cooldown. Post 6, he's going to have to be very, very careful about how this pans out. The other interesting thing to talk about is this Yorick. And I actually had a little message in the break from a guy who knows him. Basically says this is basically a Yorick main and plays it to crush lane. that is what he does with it. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how well JWoww does against that, but could be a little bit challenging.
And you take a look at the team composition as a whole for the side of Unicorns of Love. They picked a very lane-winning, focused team. You look at the team fight, and we talked about when we saw the Yorick pick get locked in, we were like, Yorick Caitlyn, that's not, it's not like the Yorick hyper carry that we're used to kind of seeing. But it is a lane bully. They've got Caitlyn Morgana, an extremely powerful lane. Syndra, a dominant laner as well. So they're just looking to win their lanes, and everything else will come from just mechanically outplaying their opponents and taking a lead out of the laning phase.
And that might well be a smart move because gamers too have been very smart in terms of let's say it, map rotations, their map movements, if you want. They've generally been very, very good. And JWoww already, look at his health getting dropped. He has gone fast, so he's got a lot of sustain, but that was dangerous, honestly. Good thing this actually wasn't running his Ignite.
And this is what Chachi's gonna be looking to do, like the whole game. He's just gonna try to push him back in and spam out an insane number of ghouls. And one of the big issues that Yorick had before was that he would run himself before he was able to kind of get to a point where he could maintain that level of poke. But with the teleport top lane meta right now, if he runs out of mana, he just uses his teleport and goes back to base, comes back out, doesn't lose out on anything. So this is a situation that works out pretty well for Yorick in this matchup.
Yeah, and of course there's the fact that the tier got buffed, not particularly recently, but a couple of patches ago. So he is a little bit more capable of building a mana immune now, which in turn gives him more mana and gives him quite a bit of damage, which otherwise Yorick tends to lack. And I actually really like Master Sheepy's positioning here, but I also love the fact Morden isn't there. This actually is such a tempting target, and Elise is so good at counter ganks. I'm pretty sure Morden is just saying, I'm 99% certain Elise will be there if I try to go for this gank right now. It's the logical thing to do.
Absolutely. I mean, whenever you have a laner that's winning really hard like this one, or has the lane control, I suppose I should say, because CS is roughly equivalent between the two. And also, it was a flash start here for JWoww, so he was expecting to take an insane amount of harass and is looking to just keep himself as healthy as possible via consumables, which is working out pretty well, actually. And so, yeah, whenever you have a situation like that, you can expect the opposing jungler to kind of try to reverse the fortunes. And if you have a lead, why not be there and go for the 2v2? You'll probably win.
Yeah, that's true. And JWoww is rapidly running out of consumables, I'll say that. But he's okay for now. Decent health. And of course, you mentioned top lane meta, teleport. But look at how much punishment he's taking for just that one minion. He lost 2/3 of his health. If you go too far into Yorick, he's allowed to just whack on you. You are going to take so much damage.
That actually might be enough. The ghouls need to auto-attack. Chachi flashes forward, cannot get into range to drop a final spell. Gonna take a couple tower shots, so both flashes end up getting burned. And both teleports are probably gonna get used as well. But the edge certainly gonna go to Chachi as he's the one with the control of the lane.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate for him, though. Blowing his flash to get no gain. The other thing is he may be overstaying here. Morden is at the least going to slow his recall when he comes in here. Or maybe not. Well, oh, nope, yep, they are going to slow his recall. He is just going to have to walk out. And it looks like Morden's thinking about potential dive. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's going to steal golems. Okay, that makes a lot more sense about where he's going. I was thinking, does he know something I don't? Because I don't think you'd be able to dive a Yorick on that HP. Yorick, in turn, picks up his tier, goes back. On his Doran's Blade already, so going to be coming back in and looking to stack that up while bullying Irelia at the same time when he's next up there.
And it looks like he's actually walking back. He's not going to use his teleport, so he's going to preserve that and will, potentially be able to offer his team the extra dragon pressure, something like that. Very interesting holding onto that early teleport. If you teleport to the tower, obviously reduce cooldown only 200 seconds, but he doesn't want to go for that right now.
It does allow him, obviously, the presence for the bot lane, because all-ins at level 6 are very likely down there. It also allows for a massive wave to build up, and for him to now freeze it here. One of the things that makes Yorick such a difficult lane bully to deal with is he doesn't actually push the lane that hard while he's bullying you. So he can try and freeze it here, and farm up, and keep JWoww overextended at the same time. All told, that puts JWoww in a very awkward position. You can see he's already taking a lot of harass, and yet there's still a big minion wave pushed up.
So, speaking of harass, Duke gets caught out, taken down very, very low on his Braum. They're going to be looking to head back to base pretty quickly here. Hillsong coming back forward with him. Morgana has been able to control the lane pretty well. Lucian with a slight lead over Caitlyn, not necessarily what you want to see as a Caitlyn player. You generally want to be the one bullying that lane around. JWoww pops level 6 and dives in on a Chachi. So much damage. Will the range minions be enough? No, they will not. Health potion ticking, gonna just barely keep Chachi alive. He does still have his teleport, so he can get himself, back to base and back out of the situation pretty quickly if he needs to. He's getting a little greedy trying to stick around for this farm. Morden's going to show himself, tries to get into range, but cannot get line of sight. And you see exactly how much sustain Yorick gets from that E. He's already back up to near half health between potions and E usage alone.
Yeah, but you do see the weakness of the tier build as well. Very, very squishy, which means if you've got a bursty opposing champion like an Aurelia, you can get bursted down. That time he did not. It actually looks like they're going to be going for the dragon right now. They've got the zoning on the enemy bot lane, but Orianna being here makes this a very scary time. Equally scary for Orianna, of course, though, because of the stun and, as we mentioned, the range on it. Oh, wow, wow, wow.
One more spell. Oh, he's not going to be able to get it. The cool cannot chase
Cool, you had one
down.
job. You just had to hit her.
I'm sorry, wasn't Shachi at like 100 health like 30 seconds ago? And now he's back up at full health and has bullied JWoww back out of the lane? I don't even...
Well, I hated it when Yorick was a very popular champion. He is a horrible person to lane against.
This has got to be frustrating for JWoww, but at the same time, he's got a big lead. Oh, Ocelot caught out by the stun. Gonna try to flash himself away from this one. Flash comes out from Power of Evil. The shockwave will not finish in time. First blood goes down to Unicorns of Love.
And there's the problem with Cleanse, is yes, it did get him out of dodge very quickly, and he would have died without it, but he still died because he was still quite squishy at this stage of the game. So, unfortunately for Gamers 2, not looking brilliant for them across the board. Their lane in top is actually doing much better than you would expect necessarily, because JWoww is putting so much focus on farm, and Sachi is suffering a little bit for it. But it's not looking great for him up there. There's a teleport up for the next time Dragonfight pops up, but mid lane now starting to fall behind, and you really don't want to fall behind a Syndra.
No, that's scary. Even for an Orianna, that's a very scary thing to have happen. Do you gonna clear out this pink ward? And we saw Ocelot. I mean, he used the cleanse, but it just wasn't enough. The cocoon was comboed up perfectly. And Master of Sheepy, they were able to stack that CC up, and that's one of the things that makes Syndra so scary. Not only does she provide an insane amount of damage, but she has, as we talked about before, an extremely long-range hard CC that can set up ganks like that. And if you have a jungler like Elise, who brings a lot of damage and CC of her own at range, it's really, really tough to survive that, even when you play a relatively safe champion like Orianna.
Yep, that is the case, and that is why she has ended up dead, and that means Power of Evil now is free to shove out this mid lane. What is he going to do with that presence he has gained? Looks like he's moving upwards. JWoww's lane is pushing out here. He needs to be very, very careful. They don't know which river way he may have gone here, but they should know Power of Evil is gone.
And yeah, Power of Evil, there he is coming in on a JWoww. JWoww does have his flash. He's going to try to turn this back around. Going to flash himself away. Uses the ultimate.
Nope.
Stun, lands almost max range. Can he get himself back out? Chachi.
Oh, this is dangerous.
JWoww stays under the tower. They will be able to pick that kill up. Very nice roam coming out from Power of Evil. And just like that, Unicorns of Love go ahead 2-0.
But here comes the Dragon Play in return. Gamers 2 should be able to get this. Question, can they pick up any kills in return?
Yeah, the teleport coming back out. Chachi's going to be here for this one as well. The Elise goes up into the repel. Cully goes down straight on Hillsing. He goes down very quickly. Yuki does get exhausted. It's not going to stop that damage output. They use the ultimate on the Hillsing, so he's going to come back into the zombie Morgana. Double kill goes down now for Yuki as he comes back in with the Ardent Blade. JWoww going to use his teleport to get onto this as well. Vardex taking out so incredibly low. Yuki... It's something to land. There's the command distance coming out. Ocelot gonna be the one to pick that kill up. So they grab the dragon, and then they get 3 kills. Huge swing for Gamers 2.
I don't know why they fought that. Unicorns of Love should have known better than to just teleport down with a guy on half health. They could have just taken the top tower. It would have been an objective trade, and they would have gotten their map presence and their lane advantage, obviously from Yorick killing Aurelia up top. But as it is, they've just thrown any advantage they had out of the window. And that does mean now that Lucian is starting to look scary. And if there's one thing you do not want to deal with against Gamers 2 specifically, it is a snowball Lucian. It is his favorite champion, and it is a terrifying champion in his hands, especially when ahead.
All right. So Gamers 2 Yeah, we talked about how the Yorick was primarily going to be used to bully out the lane, and then we saw he tried to come in and teleport and did not have a huge effect. He used his ultimate on the Morgana. They didn't get a whole lot of bonus damage out of that. The Yorick himself didn't have a whole lot of presence as he's been itemizing against his lane, going in for the Mirror Mana so he can deal damage and then getting some armor to deal with Irelia's all-in potential. But Jay Wow comes back in at the end, teleports and just nukes down Verdags and puts that kill on the Ocelot as well. So you have to wonder, once they leave the laning phase, will Unicorns of Love be as well served by their top laner as Gamers 2 will be?
It's interesting, actually, because Yorick, with a Mirror Mana, puts out quite a bit of damage. He can actually be a legitimately large threat on his own, and for as long as he's stronger than Aurelia in a one-on-one, he can continue to apply map pressure from up there. But you've got to be careful, and actually right now Vardags is feeling a little bit threatened, I think, there, but Yuki wasn't really going to die for that one.
He's just getting up in his face and farming right in front of him, which doing that against a Caitlyn is sending a message all on its own. Because you expect Caitlyn to be that dominant lane presence. And in the end, Yuki's got, 2 kills on his Lucian, and he's up about 15 CS. So Dude, with the constant poke coming out from his Q, and the constant stun threat that comes out from Lucian double tapping you, with his passive is so high. Dude gonna drop the ultimate there. They nuke down Master of Sheepy, but cannot pick up any kills. But nonetheless, they basically take the Elise out of commission for a little while at least, and might be able to take down the tower.
Yeah, they should be able to here. There's just too much threat. Vardags is on such low health that Yuki would burst him down with just like a Q auto combo there. And that means any CC landing, any whiffed CC from Hyla Sang, there's just such huge presence. You have to respect it as Vardags. He is sustaining up a bit now, but I don't see this tower lasting more than 2 waves tops.
Yeah, and the longer they stick around with Vardags on very low health like this, the more the CS gap is actually going to end up growing, because he's under so much that it's very difficult to farm safely when there's so much kill potential against you. And so there's a pretty good potential for Yuki to just force things like this, like forcing Q farming out from Vardags, and it makes it very tough to keep up in the CS numbers when you don't have access to the creep wave, for very obvious reasons.
Yeah, indeed. Sachi needs to work on his farming, actually, honestly, because he hasn't been having too much trouble in the lane from Irelia. He's just been having trouble farming at the same time as harassing. So he's fallen quite a long way behind up there. He used to farm up his tier as well, so let's see if he does that well enough.
And JWoww has handled this pressure so well. I mean, they picked the Yorick to bully the lane and come out ahead, and he has not done that. There's a 50 CS gap now, close to a 60 CS gap between the two of them. And JWoww, you see the amount of pressure he's able to apply. He just gets some early game itemization, Crystalline Flask plus double Doran's Blade, and he's able to apply an insane amount of pressure, lock down the Yorick, and take away the one big advantage that he had.
Yeah, but you've got to feel it. If Yorick had been farming as effectively, it could be a completely different story, because that's, what, how much gold between them? A good 500, 600? That's an extra significant half of an item, and now all in the bot lane possibly here.
Yu throws the shield up. I was saying, gotta go ahead and throw down the Soul Shackles. Gonna get the stun onto Yu. The exhaust goes onto Vardags, so taking a while to get the damage down. Dark Binding going to land. Yu gonna be the focus. He will fall down. Vardags picks that kill up. Summoner Heal to try to get him away from this one. Not gonna be good. Yuki picks that kill up. Now he has to burn his Summoner Heal to run away from the scary Morgana. And they end up trading 1 for 1, but it's AD carry for support.
Not the best trade, although Kaylin does pick up the kill, so as long as Hyla Sang can keep Yuki like zoned here, that would actually not be too bad. But I think the next target is going to be Vizisachi. He's actually going to walk away, but Warden's still up there, and he's a patient man. We've seen it before.
Yeah, he's just hanging out. And we've seen this particular gank work out for Lee Sin in the last game. Just very patiently waited and waited and waited, did co, and was able to get a very nice kill down onto the Lulu. It was on the opposing number. Shachi, yeah, he's going to find himself a little bit of trouble here. JWoww jumps back in. There's the flash coming back out. Master of Sheepy is here to go for the 2v2. Cocoon going to land. Vishachi taking on very low. They kill the real Vishachi. Now he comes back in zombie mode. Morden going to be the focus. He's going to look to jump away. Gets onto the creep. Stun goes down onto Vishachi's zombie, not the real one. Master of Sheepy now stepping forward. Flash comes out from JWoww. He's so low. Will the burn be enough? Yes, indeed it will. Master of Sheepy picks that kill up with the red buff. So they end up trading 1 for 1. Both top laners will fall.
Yeah, not a bad turnaround considering, but overall, still probably going to favor Irelia. She is the one picking up the kill there, and we'll be able to walk away from that. Now, Are either side going to go straight for the dragon play here? And is Master Sheepy going to live through this?
Morden gonna find him out. At least goes into the repel. Gonna give a little bit of time. Oh, that Sonic Wave is gonna miss, and that's not gonna be good for Morden. He's going to fall down. Master of Sheepy coming out ahead in the jungle race.
Yeah, and he's going to steal away the white too, which is hugely important. By which I mean it isn't, but he gets 110 gold, and obviously that's a nice little addition. Conservation stacks are quite important, so we have actually seen him go for the Ancient Golem this time, which is not such a common pick, I think, so much anymore. Tends to be a less favored jungle item just in general, because people like to have their junglers ganks be high damage, since it makes your ganks that little bit stronger. Stun on Dude over the wall.
Lots of action on the bottom lane, so Morgana goes for the flash ult to keep the AD carry out of this one. Dude taking up very low, ace in the hole, going to be enough to punch through. DOT does go down. There's the command shockwave going on to Chachi. Chachi gonna get chased down by Ocelot. JWoww comes in from the other side. There's the nukes. Down goes the Yorick. Didn't have the ultimate available to him. Now they're chasing down onto Vardags. Can JWoww get in the range? No, he cannot. Flash comes out from Vardags, and the bot lane domination from Gamers 2 has set up so many big plays just like that one.
Yeah, it's just... This is now Caitlyn's weak phase of the game, as I said before, and now she's also way behind on gold and behind the curve. Hello, that was an interesting kill. So, Ocelot picking up another one there, and they're starting to get control, getting the gold advantage across every single lane in the XP advantage. If they start picking up towers, this game will rapidly snowball out of control, because they haven't got any yet, and they're already ahead.
And so much of this, the kill score, they're only separated by 1, right? But you look at the kill distribution, it's 4 kills here for Yuki. He is an enormous Lucian at this point. You take a look, he's got another 1,300 gold, so he's well on the way towards finishing up the Trinity Force. If he completes Berserker Greaves, Trinity Force, and Bloodthirster prior to like the 22-minute mark, he is just going to be an absolute monster. And he's going to be so capable of dealing with like all of these targets. Yorick is going to be the only guy that has a significant amount of armor at that point of the game, and he'll be the one guy that he has to avoid, which will not be particularly difficult for an AD carry as mobile as Lucian is.
Yeah, ult in the bottom lane there.
Vardags, he's in a bit of trouble here. There's the passive stacking down. The black shield comes out before he can get stunned up, and now Morden finds himself all alone. Teleport coming in as well from Chachi. He did not use it in that last Dragon engagement. Morden will fall down. Vardags picks that kill up. Frost Queen's claim goes down onto Dude, but they will not chase this one down. Here comes the culling onto Chachi. He takes a good amount of burst damage. But Master of Sheepy is in the area as well. And so just like that, Unicorns of Love have brought a significant amount of force down to the bottom lane. They're going to look to push down some towers.
And JWow's still stuck in the top lane. He doesn't have his teleport. Ocelot does take the mid lane. May have overstayed. You've always got to be very careful against that Syndra, but she doesn't seem like she's going to be able to get anything done right now. The zone is a little bit too strong. Did land the stun, though.
Does land the stun. Not going to be able to push him back out. And despite Ocelot going down early on in the lane, he's been doing pretty well for himself. He's even in CS. Dude going to get caught out. Summoner heal goes down. He's extremely tanky as this Braum. He's going to actually be able to get himself away from this one. Master of Sheepy now in a lot of trouble. Summoner heal goes down onto him as well. Will he survive? They throw down the ghoul. The shockwave cleans everything up. Huge shockwave coming off from Ocelot. Now they just need to chase these kills down. Down goes Dial saying, and that's a triple kill for Ocelot with the re-engage.
That was a good shockwave, by the way, in case you didn't catch it. That just destroyed the team of Unicorns of Love. Lost any momentum they were getting on objectives there. In the meantime, because it was a 4v5, JWoww was taking the top tower, and now he's pushed up there. Maybe able to catch Syndra here. Not sure if he's going to want to, even if he can, but this is scary times now for Unicorns of Love, because they've just fallen a long way behind. And they're not going to have an easy time because, as you said, these are very lane-focused picks.
And this is what you pick Orianna for, right? She's a very safe laner. She can deal with a lot of matchups that are typically pretty bad and do them pretty well. But whenever you hit that team fight phase, whenever you hit that phase where there's a lot of skirmishing, stuff like that, you have to watch your flanks. You have to watch for the re-engages. Because if Orianna is able to come in from the side, that was just an amazing flash shockwave, completely turned that around and put huge advantages onto the side of Gamers 2. So Unicorns in Love, they need to keep wards up. They need to keep Ocelot from making that happen.
Yeah, so now he's also 5-1, which is going to make future shockwaves even more scary. He did go for Merc Dreads as another piece of, safety and paranoia to keep himself out of the hands of his opponents, but not going to matter so much if he's got a really strong front line, and Braum Irelia will prove to be that, I suspect, as these fights go on. Be a bit careful, though.
The Death Cap Athene's done for him now. He's a Void Staff away from being an absolute monster on that Orianna, and he's well on his way towards completing that item as well. So we have to watch out for that. Yuki, again, he's got those items we were talking about. It's 21.5 minutes here, so the Lucian threat is enormous as well. It's just everything is going really well for Gamers 2. They didn't play a super explosive early game. They just kind of bided their time and were patient with this one. JWoww uses the Blade Surge onto a minion to preserve the stun on Chachi. He's going to take a lot of damage from these creeps and the extra ghouls plus revenants. Meanwhile, down in the mid lane, Ocelot gets caught up by a lot of CC. What a huge shockwave! Takes Hyosang down to nothing. Duty just going to pick that kill up with his Q. Now trying to flash over, going to use the ultimate. Not going to catch out Master of Sheepy. As it turns out, it's really hard to kill spiders with giant columns of ice.
Apparently so. They can jump up, and I suppose they can. I don't know how spiders cope actually. Like, wouldn't their hairs like they got? Because the reason spiders climb walls, they got little hairs. Surely those would freeze and they get stuck.
It's possible. Thankfully, he doesn't have to scale any walls and save any damsels, because he's not Spider-Man. He's Elise. Ocelot gonna take it down, and dude just immediately jumps in the front, throws the shield up, playing very Braum-like in that one. Calling goes down. Master of Sheepy can take that very low. He's gonna have to back himself away. Dude again running the front, taking all of the CC. He's not going to like that one too much, as Unleashed Power comes out from the Power of Evil and picks that kill up. JWoww trying to force the issue once again with Chachi going to burn the ultimate, jumps back in onto the creep. So much burst damage coming out from the Irelia. Flash forward. There's the Equilibrium Strike, and JWoww picks up the solo kill.
Yeah, that's not a good sign either, because that means Aurelia is now going to be free to apply split push pressure. She is stronger in team fights thanks to her mobility, her burst damage, and her sustained damage as well right at this point. And that kind of means now you've got a really scary Aurelia. She's not so scary when she's on 1/3 health, but so are an awful lot of players on the side of Unicorns of Love. Sure. Oh, wow.
That auto attack almost did it, right? Actually taking out almost nothing with just the command dissonance, the command shockwave, and the auto attack from Ocelot. Insane burst damage coming out from the Orianna already. And this is, I mean, Unicorns of Love, they're starting to run out of answers for all the pressure that Gamers 2 are able to apply in multiple lanes at the same time.
Yeah, basically their one hope here is Syndra. If she can catch someone out, she's got the burst. She's got Deathfire Grasp now. She has so much damage on a single target. If they can catch someone out, then maybe they can look to teamfight after that. But again, it's this situation where you're being forced into running picks. You're not ahead and looking to capitalize from creating picks. You're behind and you're just thinking, well, we have no other choice but to look for pickups. They are fortunate in that their comp does have a lot of single target, long range CC, but if they're forced into a dragon fight, for instance, not good times, especially if Hyosang fights face jacks.
And meanwhile, Dude is just getting tankier and tankier. He's picked up the Giant's Belt now, so he has an insane amount of HP. If he uses his W, he gets a solid amount of armor and magic resistance, and he can use his E to get some % damage reduction as well. So it's really tough to punch through the tank wall that is just the Braum right now. And that's opened them up to build a lot more damage. Elsewhere, another 3-man shockwave comes out from Ocelot, picks one kill up while his team secures the dragon. And he's just alone, taking everybody else on his own. Flashes forward, gets hit by the DFG and the Unleashed Power. He's going to go down. A little too aggressive for his own good. Now JWoww trying to chase this down. Not going to have too much fun on that one. Chachi going to try to run the front, keep him away. JWoww takes a little bit of damage. Morden shows up to provide a little bit of support. And just like that, they trade 1 for 1, but Ocelot pays the price being a little too aggressive.
Yeah, that was just straight up a mechanical screw up there. He didn't cast his Q before he cast his W, so he ended up just speeding himself up, running into the enemy team. Not the best play, but before that, obviously, he was styling very, very hard, taking down Hyosang in a 1-on-3 situation. So, yeah, not a good trade, but it didn't have to be a trade. It was just a straight up misplay.
All right, so in the end, he did create a lot of space. Gamers 2 did get the dragon as well. So they're still continuing to build on their lead, even if he does throw away a little bit of extra gold to the opposing team. Kind of humorous about it. 7,000 points still separating these two sides. And JWoww is, I mean, he's still building up, towards becoming the tanky, high-damage assassin, anti-carry monster that you expect an Irelia to be. So all in all, Gamers 2 are still pretty much on schedule.
Yeah, the siege situation is pretty strong from Unicorns of Love, just because there's so many long-range crowd controls, but
another beautiful shockwave going to set this up. The culling goes down. Yuki going to try to squash down the Yorick. Will be able to do so. The Elise actually going to be able to get herself out to the side with a flash. Dude continue to run the front. The Cocoon comes back down and shut down. Gold goes over to the side of Ocelot. Hailsang taking a very low. They're trying to chase down all the kills at once. Morden up on a Vardax. His Q is actually going to end up hitting a minion, so he doesn't get the execution, but that's okay. Yuki's going to want to pick that kill up. Now Dude does get the slowdown on the Hailsang. He's going to be able to get the Dark Binding down onto Ocelot, though. So they're not going to be able to finish him off quite yet.
Delay for another 10 seconds. Go!
He's trying to do so. He gets another Dark Binding down. Not going to be enough time. Gives the kill over to Dude, but denies the assist. And denies putting the kill onto Ocelot, so not too bad for him. Unfortunately, just the 3 remaining members of Gamers 2 will be able to take down the Inhibitor Tower and move on towards the Inhibitor as well. So Gamers 2 pretty solidly in control of this one at this point.
Yeah, they're miles ahead. They've got map pressure, map everything. Basically, they are way ahead. They've got gold, they've got experience, they've got map pressure, they've got ward control. Unicorns of Love have done a decent job, actually, of keeping some wards down, even though they're so far behind. But yeah, this is looking very, very ugly, and I really don't see how they're going to get out of that situation. There's just not anything they can do at this point. You saw, I mean, that was a good situation at the enemy tower before, but then they got in range, put 1 foot wrong, shockwave, instantly, team fight over. They lost. They get massacred as a result, and well, what do you do after that?
That's the question. And hopefully they can come up with the answer.
If they know the answer, they deserve to win the game. Say that.
Now's the time. Yeah. If they can come up. So Muramana now converted here for Shachi, so he's gonna have a little bit more damage output. Dude actually gets caught up. He's gonna take a lot of damage from the Baron. Gets takes out the Soul Shock. The Ace and the Hole comes in, but again, Braum just too tanky. Walks away from all of it. He's just gonna have to head back to base. But just like that, we see they are able to force some 4v5 action.
Who took
no phase in range for Sheepy. He's going to go down. Izzy, Cocoon goes out, culling there. Almost every bolt lands, and that's going to be the Resonating Strike picking up that kill from Morden. So they force Braum back to base and then immediately lose their jungler. Not the best.
Oh. That was also...
That's the cleanse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. Also, he got hit by that long range stun and then just immediately cleansed it off.
Yeah, Hylasang flashed for the follow-up Dark Binding as well, so... That's actually not a bad Summoner Spell trade. But, well, that's unfortunate for them. Unicorns of Love have just gotten a little bit further behind. We'll see if they can do anything to turn it around, but... As been mentioned, there are many factors working against them in that respect. Hylasang is currently dicing with death and is being encircled. I don't really foresee him getting out of this. Hi, JWoww.
Yeah, this is not going to be a whole lot of fun. Hailsang takes so much damage, and that's going to be a quick kill coming out for JWoww. The burst from that Trinity Force, just too much for the opposing support to stand. And it looks like Gamers 2 are going to back away and force the issue at the Baron.
You should play chess with death. That's a lot safer. Much easier to win.
That sounds not at all safer.
Well, if you're dicing with death, it's like you dice wrong, you lose. It's random. If you're good at chess, play chess with death.
Power of Evil gets caught up, the shockwave plus the damage from Lee Sin. Gonna be enough to pick that kill up. He just wanted to get in range to get some vision. Won't be able to do so safely. Meanwhile, Yuki in the mid lane, putting down what damage he can, and the rest of his team is just moving in onto the Baron, trying to take this one down as quickly as they can. They know they've got the control. They sweep out the rest of the wards. Gamers 2 going to continue forcing the issue on this one. Baron taken down very, very low. It's going to fall. Gamers 2 continue to take more advantages as they spread their lead to 13,000 gold.
Yep. Baron buff. We also have an Elixir still running on Yuki. Actually, it's about to run out, but I don't think that's going to be a major concern for him. He's got a Negatron cloak, so Syndra's going to have some difficulty bursting him down. Doesn't yet have a Void Staff herself. All told, we are looking at the bell tolling for Unicorns of Love. Here we go.
Diving in goes JWoww. JWoww trying to chase down Master of Sheepy. Knockup goes down onto Vardags. The Black Shield way too late. Yuki flashes forward, picks up a quick kill onto the opposing AD carry. Shashi now taken down very low. He's going to get slowed up. Master of Sheepy going to be the target. He falls down. Unleashed Power gets used onto JWoww. Not going to bring a whole lot of substantial damage there. Gamers 2 take down 2. They lose none. They move in onto the inhibitor. It's going to fall down as well. That's the second inhibitor of the game for Gamers 2. And they look all but poised to finish this one out.
Oh, wow, that back.
So much damage on the Power of Evil. He's going to fall down. They've got the zombie Syndra, but she's not going to be able to do too much. Hyosang goes down to JWoww plus the command Shockwave. Chase down what's left of Syndra. And for me, I've been watching a lot of The Walking Dead in the last few days, so that's particularly terrifying for me. But nonetheless, Gamers 2 going to conquer their fears and conquer game 1 of this best of 3.
Yeah, the power of evil just met the power of weird scissor things, or whatever the hell Aurelia's weapon is. But that was honestly not a fun game for Unicorns of Love. Their lane bully strategy didn't work out. They didn't even win in the top lane, which was the most bully-focused lane. And as a result, they fell behind. And after that, there really just wasn't anything they could do. The team fight was worse. Their picking was worse. Their map control was worse. Overall, they did poorly, so they may have to readjust their strategy. But can they even play a straight-up map movement, team fighting game against Gamers 2? I feel the reason they went for the lane strategy was to get momentum, because they knew that typically they don't win out in a straight up fight against Gamers 2. I've seen them in the past in other tournaments. It doesn't work.
Entirely possible. It didn't work out for them this game. Let's see if they can come up with a solution for game number 2. We're going to take a quick break, give these guys some time to strategize.